Hello, and welcome to Talk.Therapy.Heal. You're in for a great treat on today. Join us, subscribe, hit the notification button, share with your friends. We have a great topic for you on this day.
Hi, I'm Kenya King, licensed professional counseling associate supervisor, Ms. Yanika Willis.
Hi, I'm Rachel Logan, a licensed clinical social worker.
Hello, I'm Larissa Perlow, a licensed marriage and family therapist.
Hey, I am Yanika Willis, licensed professional counselor, supervisor.
Hey everyone, my name is Chantrell King. I'm a licensed professional counseling associate supervised by Yanika Willis. So what we're going to be talking about in this show is ingredients for a successful marriage.
Yeah.
Okay, because listen, it's been phases. I don't know if y'all seen Season of Phases. When some of this folk came on, everybody was independent. For some reason, it's doubling back to that 90s kind of love, okay? Some of y'all know about that. You know what I'm saying? So where everybody trying to be booed up, it's cold outside, and you're thinking about marriage. So we're going to really kind of dig into what that could look like as far as ingredients for a successful marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I think we probably should start off with our definitions, girl.
Yeah.
That's like, what is success? Like, what is success? Like, what would you say, or what does the definition say? And I think we should all kind of give our ideas of what we think success is, because let's face it, success to everybody is different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what's success? Google it says the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. So accomplishment of an aim or purpose.
Okay.
Okay. So what is the aim or purpose for marriage? What's the aim?
Oh.
I think it's going to be different depending on couples.
Mm-hmm.
Some individuals have a goal to stay married. Some people say we want to be married, have kids, be successful in our everyday lives. But for me, when I look at the ingredients to a successful marriage, is basically two individuals that are joining hands together to accomplish common goals associated with the marriage.
So listen here.
Say that definition again. I
probably didn't even say that again.
Right. You're going to have to go to listen to the replay.
Yes, that was good. It just kind of, I was like, okay.
So you gotta have goals.
Marriage
Just has to have goals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
But two people come together.
Come on,
together,
One goal,
working together
working together.
for a common goal.
Common goal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm hearing is we have to come into agreement.
Yes.
So
You have to be one.
So success then means agreement. We're coming together on something. What else? And we're all married, right? I've been married 21 years.
We're coming up on 25 years.
19.
13. All right. So we got some seasoned married folks at the table, right? And we've experienced a lot of different things. What would you say has made your marriage successful?
I would say for mine is being aware of a satisfaction factor. Because when the satisfaction decreases, that's where communication concerns come in. That's where connection concerns comes in. That's where misunderstandings, happen and occur. But if you could keep your level of satisfaction satisfaction with the status of the marriage, how it's growing and progressing, how close you are to the goal, those kinds of things, it's something that I know for my husband and I.
Okay. I like that. So satisfaction. And what I'm thinking, even in my marriage, even though like this is one of the things that I truly focus on in therapy, but it's about the individual. So working on you, knowing that you're in a good place, satisfying yourself, making sure that you're satisfied with who you are before you go and try to satisfy a marriage. So understanding that is very, very key. If I'm not good, I can't make sure something else is good.
Right. That is good. I know for me, one of the things that I would say when it comes to us, and I know Kenya probably have something else as well, is because of course God is the head in all of that. But friendship. Because what I realized in our marriage, we can accomplish. Man, we can accomplish so many things that doesn't even make sense. To include amazing children. Come on, Jesus. But the thing is, sometimes we can get so caught up in routine and accomplishing things and goals that you forget to be friends. So it becomes robotic. And then you know, high five. What you gotta do this kid? What you gotta do at work? To where you lose friendship. And so if I may get frustrated, if he's getting frustrated, and it has probably nothing to do really with us, because we're not checking in with self and we're not checking in with each other, then it could come to that place, especially in the down season, where you like, you frustrated, you aggravated, you all these things. And it's like having to really stop and ask myself, would I really treat my friend like that? I would treat my friend like that. I'd be good to my friend. So that's one of the things that I've learned in our journey is staying true to your friendship, the laughing, the joking, you know, going out on dates, flirting with each other, being booed up. You know all the things. Be cute with it. You know, don't get me started.
In my practice, I've seen a lot of couples come in and they have that element of, well, she just doesn't like me, or he just doesn't like me. If they, you know, kept that friendship element in there, that level of satisfaction for the friendship, for the connection could definitely grow.
That's true.
Yeah. Like, she don't like me anymore, you know. You know, you sometimes after you've been with someone for a long time, sometimes you don't like them.
Right.
You still love them.
Yeah.
But you don't like them. And for one of my clients I work with, he simply just wanted her to look like him. They just wanted to be in the same room. He didn't want to be nagged or head bit off or, you know, what have you. Does she like me?
I wonder what changed. See, we think about our relationships and where we start at when we are purposing to get married. Then we say, I do. We go through the honeymoon phase and all of that. And then when we start experiencing things of that nature, at what point did that change? When you recognize that maybe she didn't like you. Or as we talked about in the other series, did something change within you? What are you not recognizing that maybe you did to that individual?
Wow. That caused for you not to feel that she no longer likes you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Rachel, you can't escape. You got to give us.
Oh yeah. I think for us is that we still want each other. So we, you know, sometimes we're just like, man, I still want you, and I still want you, and I think because we still desire one another, it is an attraction. It is, you know, it's a gravitational pull, right, together instead of apart. So even as crazy or our schedules are really busy, there's still that desire for my mate.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, Mr. King, what you got?
Yeah, she'll put me.
Look, what you got.
For me, I would say it's definitely maintaining that friendship, but at the same time, realizing that you are working with your spouse and not fighting against them, not fighting one another.
Oh, that's so good. I remember earlier on in our marriage, I used to always tell DeMarcus, I am not your enemy.
Yes.
I am here as a help me to you. I'm here fighting alongside of you. I am here partnered with you. I said I do to you. I agreed to walk this journey with you. Stop treating me like I'm one of your peoples out in the street who are plotting against you. But I think it's the upbringing and the environment in which they were, he came up in that made him feel like he was not in competition with me, but that full-on trust that I know that I can count on her. Even though he knew it, it was the actions behind it. It was like, I don't know if I can fully embrace it. So it took some time, but I used to tell him all the time, I am not your enemy. I'm for you, not against you. Yes.
Yeah. And that's, I think, like when it comes to ingredients to successful marriage, like what we was talking about, we've already spoken about self. We've spoken about the desire for our mate, being friends and different things like that. I think now a big thing that I would definitely say, and I think for us, it's probably easier said than done because we didn't grow up as little kids with social media. Where the younger generation have, you know, I know for me, growing up, how can I say it? Okay, so we talk about the 90s. So you had the Cosbys, you had everything that was promoted around marriage and family. You had, and I know I'm saved, but we had the R&B music. It made you, honey love, you wanted to be with your honey, right? And love. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and I'm a music person, but we had that. And so now, with the younger generation, they've come up with social media. That thing was there since they was little. So now it's like I'm looking at fake reality TV shows, inspiring for that. I'm looking at social media. We sitting up here, oh my God. Y'all bear with me. Y'all know it happens. Y'all know it happens. We sitting up here and we all booed up and this is my boo. We doing all this. We on vacation and we and so you're doing all this, but then you secretly in somebody inbox talking about, yeah, we going through right now. Can you hand me da? Now, this is the other thing that I see that's kind of blessing when it comes to social media and the internet and different things like that. There are a lot of avenues of information out there that can encourage you on how to have a better marriage and all that. But because I believe it's so accessible, people don't take advantage of it. They wouldn't take advantage of this until my marriage is in a down season.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's, wait a minute, where's that counseling group? They was talking about ingredients to what? Now you're on Google and all that when you get ready to contact the divorce lawyer. But we're not doing what we need to do to stay proactive in maintaining a healthy and successful marriage.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that so much. And as a relationship person, it's like scratching a chalkboard. Sorry, I had to give a visual.
Yeah.
It's irritating.
Yeah.
It is irritating.
I think the ingredients for a successful marriage, of course, starts before the marriage. Much like baking a cake, pie, any thing you want to cook in the kitchen, you got to do an inventory to find out what ingredients you already have. Because if you don't have those ingredients, then what do you end up with when you try to make something?
Right.
And so a person really sitting back, taking inventory of themselves, looking at that person that they want to be their spouse and say, how well are we matched up in order to make this successful if this is the next step that we're going to take? And that will lay the building blocks for the finished product, if you will.
Okay.
You will have individuals, and I'll say this because I think it's very true in relationships. The way that I make a cake may not be the same way you make a cake, but in the end, we both get a cake. It's the ingredients that you put into it. So what works for me in my marriage may not necessarily work for yours.
Thank you for saying that, Kenya. Oh my God, because that we were talking about power couples earlier, and I don't know. That's one of them scratch chalkboard thing. Knowing the ingredients, the proper ingredients, and taking inventory of what you do have prior to, instead of looking to other people to try to identify what those ingredients are. And so we were talking about power couples. I know a lot of people see couples and they put them in these spotlights or on these pedestals and say, oh, I want to aspire to be just like that. And you don't even know the ingredients that they have that is causing them to be that. Or even when we talk about power couples, we had this conversation last night too. I keep saying this. We talk about, oh, I want to be that. I want to aspire to have that as this power couple. But then when you plug into them, you become just as dead as they are. Because,
What power
That is good.
right.
Yeah.
What power are they really working with? So now you up here with a dead battery because you done plugged into something dead and you sit up here trying to figure out why your stuff ain't working. Well, they appeared
Right.
to be your house.
I know that thing right there is like, oh.
But and it's true though. It's true because when I see people I'm like, okay, they have some great things. There's some great aspects about them, and maybe I can glean some things, but to try to become them or aspire to have what they have. And I see it so much on social media. Like I said, they all booed up. And so they posting a picture or a 10-second video of something that they did. And maybe she was like, smile for the camera. He smiled. And then 10 seconds later, they arguing, you know, but you want that. And couples goals. Oh my God, relationship goals. And I was just like, make your own goals.
Make your own goals because you can't emulate what you saw, good or bad, right?
Yes.
So if you look at your parents and they had a dysfunctional marriage, you gotta separate yourself and establish your own goals. Like,
Right.
what are your ingredients that will work for you? Like, I'm kind of repeating myself, but truly, what are your goals? What's the aim? What is the purpose? What is God saying for you and your family? What is the trajectory for your marriage? Like, you have to sit down and establish that for yourself.
Yes. Understanding too that a successful marriage requires continuous work.
Yes.
Work. You don't just go to the courthouse or have the big wedding and say I do, and now you have the title of husband and wife and it's all done.
Yeah.
No, that's just the beginning.
Mm.
That is just the beginning. You are in for a long journey. It's a continuous work. And if you want to, you have to come together and work together as a collective in order for you to have a healthy identity as a couple.
Right.
That's, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, it gets me when people, and, you know, Kay and I, the version of the work that we do, we talk about this all the time. Wish that we could have actually did it, but because of being in the military and military marriages, they didn't happen. You can't follow orders. What? You got orders? No, you ain't got orders. No, you trying to be me. Will you marry me? I will. Then boom, we got orders. You know what I'm saying? And we out to the next duty station or whatever. But premarital counseling.
Yeah.
I do not understand with all in the breath that is in my body how you got both a man and a woman that can decide that they are going to get married. You going into debt.
Yeah.
You spending $50 to $100 to $150,000 on a marriage, and nowhere in there did you budget out in your debt, or if you saved up for premarital counseling.
What can you clarify though? Because we got to make sure we ain't doing those drive-by or drive-through premarital counseling sessions.
Oh, I was about to go deep up in there. I was about to go deep up in there. Yes. So what? Okay. Prime example. I'm glad you said it. I preface that. They didn't go knee deep up in there. There are individuals who will contact me because in the great state of Texas, where, you know, most of us practice, you could get a discount if you attend some type of premarital counseling on the cost of your marriage license, right? So the first thing that happens is when they reach out to our practice, it's like, okay, well, how much time do you have set aside to go to premarital counseling? Oh, well, so we're supposed to be getting married next week. And they told us that if we come to get premarital counseling from y'all, so is it possible we can do this in 3 days?
Ooh.
Right off the rip, I don't even ask no more questions. That will be a no for us. I can refer you to someone else. Because one person I said, you at least want to do 6 to 9 months that you set aside for premarital counseling. The reason being is this is a lot of different factors. Because when we, were little, you had mama and papa, they was together they got married, they was together 50, 60, 70 some years, 10, 15 kids, whatever. And generally 9 times out of 10, they was the mama and the daddy out of all that little, right? Your crew. However, this day and time, you got blended families. You got, okay, how are you when it comes to the relationship with your child's mother? How about your child's father? We ain't even talked about, okay, we're at this age, if somebody trying to get married, even below. So is your parents coming to stay with us? Are they going in the nursing home? What are we doing? How do you handle finances? Do you have a relationship with God? Do you know God? Do you believe in God? Keeper? Come on now. How are we going to raise children? It's so many factors. So to sit up here and try to, what that tells me, and I'm not trying to be mean, but y'all know I'm going to lay it out on the table. What that tells me is how much you are really willing to invest into the success of your marriage.
Yeah, very true.
It don't mean that much to you if you can go ahead and fly to New York or go over to France and get your custom-made dress and all this for a 30-minute to an hour ceremony. And you know what people tell me? There's another scratch the chalkboard moment. Oh, I'll find out about him when we get married. I ain't worried about that now. So now y'all both in debt because y'all done went in debt. You ain't even got a roof over your head, a house. Y'all don't know where y'all stay. Y'all still staying with mama and them. You gonna have a honeymoon or what? And then guess what? It ain't even a year and y'all calling it quits. And y'all still in debt.
Yeah.
Together.
Together. Now we got to split this debt.
I find it funny that individuals will take the time to sit down and look through an insurance policy, take time to do homework and research on the car, the house, and all that. The person that you go lay down and have kids with,
Come on.
and do all this stuff with, you just want to do it in the blink of an eye. Now, I'm not knocking anybody. I know there's been a lot of individuals say, I saw this person, we dated for a month, 2, 3, 4, and everything's fine. But once again, every marriage is not going to be the same.
Right.
But why not do the homework for someone that you're spending the rest of your life with to get to know them at a deeper level so that you can tell what you're getting yourself into?
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because most people ain't planning to stay that long.
That's true.
Oh,
My mom. Yeah, absolutely.
They ain't planning.
I mean, it for the now, not for the long.
Yeah.
That's my question. Why are we so thirsty to get married?
Oh, that's a good one. Cause I'm gonna try not to step outside.
Hold on.
I'm gonna try not to step outside my lane. But for some males, it's all about who you can conquer.
Oh, teach the people.
And then for some females, it's all about what do you have that's going to sustain me. Because if I can get you hooked, now I got you booked for the 18.
Come on, sir. If I can get you hooked, now I got your book. Come on. Get hooked and booked. Yeah, hooked and crooked.
And the reason for that is that people are going after their own selfish desires instead of what marriage was made for. Is what you can do for each other,
Right.
or each other's help me. So I will tell you guys I was married before I got married at a young age, got divorced. And when I sat back and look about all the red flags are there from the beginning. Most people know, but you think you can make it work, or you try to settle and you end up in the same place in the first place. So it's best to just do that homework and figure out, what is this person all about? Can I trust this person when it comes to my kids, my money? If my mom gets sick and I have to be deployed or whatever, can she fill in and take care of that? And vice versa. See, a lot of times individuals enter into relationships with unsuccessful ingredients because they're just trying to figure out what's best for them. So when that recipe tells you that you need 100% butter, and you run down there and get that margarine, and then you bake that pie and it look like ants walked around there, the recipe didn't come out right. And some of our marriages don't come out right because we went in with ingredients that weren't supposed to be there in the first place.
I'm still listen. That's the hashtag. Y'all know what great hashtag. Wow. You know, one of the things too that comes to my mind, and when it comes to this as well, is the couple needing to understand. Because it took us a minute, to kind of get here, but the couple needing to understand that nothing can penetrate and come in and destroy your nucleus. Once you become one, I know. Look, I'm like, once you become one,
right here.
So can you share this analogy? I'm kind of stealing a bit, we married. I'm kind of stealing. We want. So anyway, think about a house. And think about the only way to get in the house. We ain't talking about the windows. We ain't talking about the chimney, because somebody going to be extra with it. We talking about the front door and the back door.
Right.
Nobody can come into that house, break into that house, steal nothing from that house, destroy the house from the inside out, unless they come through the front door or the back door. That means they're either coming through the wife or the husband. So that be the messy mamas who don't know how to stay out of their son's business, who are, that's your son husband, and you big mad because he the one that married this bride that you didn't approve of, and she taking your money. See, that's another topic. So the son husband, or the one who you send up here.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, define son husband.
So I will paraphrase it or break it down like this. A son husband is when the mama don't have a man, and you expect your son to take care of you, and you are so entwined, intermingled, and enmeshed with your son that he is to do everything for you but to have sex with you. That's a son husband. And the thing is some of the sons who is now a husband, you asked. Some of the sons, listen, who are now the husbands, feel torn Like when you went down to that altar or before that judge and you made a vow before God, whatever your vows was that you were no longer going to be two but one flesh, then you send a torn of, but that's my mama. I need to take care of my mama. Okay, why mama ain't taking care of herself and why mama ain't got a man? But mama sitting up here, you gonna allow her to come in your front door or your back door, your chimney. How is she gonna do it? Because usually a mother that looks at her son as a son husband is manipulative. And it's equal to in the Bible as a Jezebel. Because that's witchcraft. Because you trying to come in and destroy your son. Because I raised him, I sacrificed. I was a single mom of a son too. But it ain't no way on God's green earth that I'm going to come in and try to destroy it. Because guess what? We raised him to say, you're going to be somebody's husband one day.
Yeah.
You're not doing that for our benefit. We should be standing on our own 2 feet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's a
So what's
just say ouch.
what's the reverse? What's the daughter?
Let me see. Your daughter wife. And see where I think a lot of that come in. I personally have not seen a lot of dads that interject like that, me personally. But what I've seen is the daughter, because daddy treated her so good and daddy treated her so well, and she don't realize you no longer married to daddy, then you're punishing your husband because your husband is not up to daddy's level. Even though daddy may have given permission for you to marry his daughter, but you are not allowing your husband, who you came one, to mature and be who God is creating him to be as far as your husband. So then you put him down and you always bringing up daddy's name. Well, my daddy would do this and my daddy and my daddy and my daddy. Well, honey, go marry your daddy, but please don't.
Yeah.
But please don't.
Yeah.
Sorry. Y'all know I get passionate because this is my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So sorry.
And I think people really have to sit back and think when it comes to getting married. Let's look at the ingredients I have. Let's get the ingredients you have. Are these ingredients going to mesh together to form what we're trying to build? Because once again, the ingredients should be the building blocks, but it's the same ingredients that you're going to have to keep pouring into to keep the foundation steady. So when I look at it, one of the biggest ones that jumped out there for me is trust. Do you trust this person? Then when you start doing that, I throw communication and understanding in there together, because everybody will normally say, well, communication is the key. Well, I tend to think a little different. I think understanding is the key. We all communicate right here, but if I start talking German right now, I would be communicating, but there's no understanding.
Absolutely.
So sometimes you have to sit back and get it in your mind. Let me understand where my spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, is coming from. And once I understand that person, we get that understanding together. Now you can move forward. And then when you are having these conversations, everybody's going to have an argument, heated moment of passion, whatever you want to call it. Can forgiveness be a part of that? Because in a relationship, one of the key ingredients is going to be forgiveness, because neither one of y'all ain't perfect. Somebody's going to mess something up, do something wrong. Can you look at it from a subjective and objective standpoint and say, you know what? We all make mistakes. Can we fix this and then move forward? Now, I'm going to get on the soapbox and I'm going to get right back off real quick. This is just Kenya personally. Me, Shannon and I have had this conversation before. I believe one of the ingredients that you cannot put into a successful marriage is one person saying, I'm the man, I rule with an iron fist, and a woman saying, I'm independent, I'm strong, I don't need you for nothing in my life. That's not gonna work. You just cancel each other out. That's and if you want to go from a biblical perspective, man was by himself, and God said, it ain't good that you be alone. Here's a help me. So why does everybody come at this point saying they don't need each other? Yes, you do.
Married.
There you go.
So I'm so glad, because I was sitting over here going to the Bible about help meet and understanding what a help meet is. And help meet meaning, not because I know a lot of people take that scripture and it's like God gave hold on, let me go to it, y'all. Hold on a second. Hold on. Where he talks about the Lord giving a help me, a helper.
Comparable.
But folks, I think, will take that and feel as though the woman comes second to that. And that's not what it means. Help meet means equal. Meet is equal. It's a companion, equal and necessary in partnership. So I'm so glad you went there with that help meet. Because I think people take that scripture, as we all know, and people tend to take scripture out of context.
Mhm.
Read, y'all. Read the scripture before and after. Read the whole chapter if you have
Definitely.
to.
Right.
But get a proper understanding of what it means or what God intended when he said, help me.
Right. And with that, me and Shan, we've did this before, and I try to explain to people that help me. When God saw the man was alone, he says, not good for you to be alone, he calls him to go to sleep. What did he take from him?
Rib.
How many ribs you got?
Two.
2. So you're supposed to be side by side with one another.
Mm.
And so when a man says, well, I'm the head, yes, from a spiritual standpoint, but you should be walking alongside with each other because each one came from
Equal,
the side.
because if
Equal.
you look at the ribs, they look the same.
They look
Right.
the same.
You got 2 slabs.
Yeah.
In the up.
And the hand on that grill, you just base it. I'm thinking.
Okay, come back.
Okay. Okay. I got, what I hear both of you guys say is that you have to be mature
Yes.
to get and be married.
Yes, you do.
So, like the little boy and the little girl, and you cannot get married, has to be the adult
Adults.
version.
Jesus.
The healed
The healed.
Mhm.
Yes.
version.
So you have to be mature to maintain a covenant. Because if you're a little kid, if you make me mad, I'm a shoot.
Come on.
You mad, mad.
Coming right back here.
So that ain't a successful marriage.
It's not. It's not. And I'm glad you brought that up because I wrote notes down of addressing it from a trauma perspective.
Okay.
Right. And it says trauma, and we know that a lot of trauma happened in our earlier stages of life, in our childhood. So trauma, if unaddressed, can impact marital relationships by influencing reactions, behaviors, and attachments.
Yeah.
Woo. So it's how we relate to people. If we don't take care of and heal that little girl, that little boy on the inside, those things are going to come out in a very negative way in our marriage, and we're not going to have a successful marriage.
Right.
It's like you said, the adults agree to get married, but it's the kid in us that has to be also in agreement. And when it's not, you have a mess.
Yeah.
It's a
Right.
mess.
Yeah.
So I would say too, just to add, is just being able to handle conflict.
Yeah.
So like that's a healthy agreement. Like arguments will happen, right?
Right.
I know that, but you got to learn how to fight fair,
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
right?
Yes.
And you have to learn how to handle conflict civil, right? And so just learning how to, I'm not going to attack you because a conflict is an opportunity to get on the same page. It's not a war.
Right.
It's an opportunity to get clarity, understanding. So learning how to fight fair.
Right.
I think people don't fight fair. Some people are just very manipulative. And so when you say something I don't agree with, then I'm going to fire back and say something because it's just going to be tip stab back and forth. But some people don't know how to fight fair because they don't want to be held accountable for their actions. And so the minute that you can't be held accountable, then what really is that? You're really manipulating an individual in a relationship. It's okay for you to do something, but if I do it, now all of a sudden there's a big issue. And so individuals have to really sit down and talk and set boundaries right off the bat.
Yeah.
And so just like Shan was talking about earlier, we talking about the front door and the back door. One of my key ingredients is to know what ingredients to keep out. You can't put everybody in your relationship.
Sure can.
My key to successful marriage is that if you and your wife got problems, you and your wife got problems, not you and your wife and the plumber and people at church and people at work and all that. That's where you guys to work out. That's not to say you can't go to some trusted adults that can help you within your relationship, but you can't just be out there spewing bad stuff about your wife or spewing bad stuff about your husband. Then when you hear somebody knocking on your back door, you wonder how they found out y'all was having an issue because you was the one that sent the message in the first place.
Yeah.
You got something because
Yeah, I
I
see
feel
it.
like some in your spirit, but I got something, but y'all know it'd be like, oh, so it might get me voted off the island, but I'm saying it anyway. Because you just brought up somewhere I was like, Jesus, something else I had to learn in our marriage. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'll sing your life. But
You know, something like-
Just y'all don't kick me out the group, but go ahead.
I was thinking about John and Julie Gottman.
Mm-hmm.
Over 40 decades they've been researching and studying couples and marriages and things like that, and they have the 4 horsemen.
Mhm.
The 4 horsemen, and it's the way the research is read, if I could say it this way, based on the research, if a couple or a marriage contains these 4, four horsemen,
Right, right.
if I could say it that way,
Mhm.
then they're at like a 90% plus chance of that relationship
Mhm.
not working itself out. And so
Mhm.
those four things are defensiveness,
Mhm.
contempt, criticism, stonewalling.
Mhm.
Not necessarily in that order.
Right.
But when you were talking about conflict, managing conflict, all four of those are important ingredients. Well, not ingredients.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you know what I mean? You don't want in your marriage. But if you find yourself in the midst of those four things, and I guess we could talk about that another time, defensiveness, contempt, criticism, stonewalling, you need some help.
Mhm.
Right, right,
You
right,
need some
right.
help. But in order to manage the conflict, you got to do the reverse, the antidote,
Absolutely.
right, of
Mhm.
those things. And
Mhm.
that's
What's the
probably
antidote?
later time. So some of the antidotes.
She gonna put that- she gonna make this
Right. Come on, girl.
Well, simply put, some of the antidotes are I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So for the criticism, let's just say criticism. So they have a piece in it that's called the gentle startup.
Yeah.
And the gentle startup is simply entering into a conversation without harsh words,
Yes.
without blaming words. So the conversation may look like, hey, honey, can you help me do A, B, and C versus, hey, you never help me do A, B, and C. So whenever there's a conversation that needs to be had, you should approach the conversation in a way to where the other person is able to receive versus, criticize or defend.
Yeah.
The way I tell my couples in regards to this piece, and I'll just say this real quick, enter in your conversations as if every conversation is in the bedroom. Because in the bedroom, I mean, typically you don't want to just like rush right on in.
Right.
Right? You want to set the scene. You want to do the foreplay. You want to, you know what I mean, get the closeness, maybe that element of surprise or what have you, you know what I mean, in there. So enter in, just like you enter in having sex, enter in the conversation in that same way.
Right.
That sets the atmosphere, changes the tone of the atmosphere, and it brings about more communication, more connection, and it counters all four of those things.
Yes.
And so I just-
Yeah.
That's amazing. It is amazing.
Go to couples counseling.
Listen.
Get it.
Listen. And don't just go when you're struggling.
Yeah.
Right. I like that you the points that you brought up, especially with the intimacy and creating that level of connection, because that's one of the challenges or barriers that people find when it comes to having a successful marriage is difficulty in maintaining
Right.
intimacy and connection, especially during challenging times. Like, so how what would be a successful way for them to do that? I know you were talking about like setting the tone and things like that, but let's say for the person who are really struggling and they're going through in their marriage and they don't even have that level of intimacy when it comes to having sex.
Right.
So they don't know how to set the tone,
That's a good point.
to even create that atmosphere that they can have intimacy and connect with their spouse or their partner. What do you say during those really hard times what can they do? What tip, what strategy would they be able to use?
One thing that I really like to do, and it is so effective, is I literally have my couples turn into one another. So the key is turning to and turning into one another. And so they're turning into one another, eye to eye, have them gaze, and they feel awkward, they get giggly, and they laugh. They hold hands, and it's knee to knee. And they're literally staring in the face, you know what I mean, of that person that probably hurt them, made them mad, said the hurtful words. And generally when they do that in the room, I encourage them to take that outside of the room,
Mhm.
but it opens the door.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I guess it initiates that safe space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then of course we do listening and communication exercises
Mhm.
as well. But you got to start somewhere.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? And it starts with, the connection. I've had some that just wanted to lean, you know what I mean? On the other one, they didn't want to hold hands. They didn't want to do knee to knee, but they wanted to lean. So
Mhm.
we did that.
Mhm.
Anything though to foster that level of touch.
Mhm.
I think that makes a big difference when you
Mhm.
can touch, because as long as I can withdraw from you,
Mhm.
I can withdraw from us, I can
Mhm.
withdraw from the marriage. But if I'm touching,
Mhm.
And
it's like we're connecting, that we feel one another.
Mhm.
But if you in your corner, I'm in my corner kind of thing,
Mhm.
that level of connection is hard to have, and it makes that challenging time even more challenging.
Yeah.
When I gave birth, and if you are a mom, you know this, after you have birth, they always put your baby on your skin, right?
Mhm.
So skin to skin.
Mhm.
And so you have to do that even in your marriage too, right? To build that trust and that security. And but more importantly, I would think a factor to successful marriage is the repair. Because you said something about, now I'm looking at this person inward, the person who hurt me.
Mhm.
And so if you're making that commitment, if you're making and you're agreeing to that covenant, then you have to repair if there is hurt
Mhm.
or injury in that marriage or relationship.
That's coming up. Okay. Another. Stay tuned, y'all, because that's definitely coming up as another topic we're going to discuss, is how to repair
Yeah.
those relationships.
I think one of the things when I think about marriage, and it's interesting, asking yourself, both individuals, why am I desiring, because you kind of said this, why am I desiring to come into this marriage?
Mhm.
Am I doing it for me because I'm running from something?
Mhm.
Am I doing it for me because I just want to feel accepted or belong, whatever? Am I doing it because I want to control?
Mhm.
Marriage does not equal control. And the problem is you go through all the pleasantries and all the things of marriage, all the cute stuff. And then you start trying to control each other. You start trying to conform your partner into who you want them to be, even when you don't even know who you are. Okay? And so one of the things that I had to learn as I'm sitting up here listening to y'all thinking of how in the world we got to 25 years in ups and downs is this the key thing I had to learn. And this is what's going to probably get me voted off the island, but y'all pray for me. You got to stop listening to everybody else.
Mhm.
And we share this story, and I hope it helps somebody, but I'm going to share it again. We share in a different form. So we're in church. We love the Lord. We was raised in the church, all the things. I'm sure some of them probably heard it already before. And so we were at church one particular Sunday. I forget what happened while we even came home, and it started kind of going eyes, he over there smirking. And so what ended up happening sometime after church or somewhere in that week, Kenya had made mention to me about something. I forget exactly what it was. And I remember I popped off and said, well, Bishop said that as the head, as the man, as the da. And all of a sudden it got quiet. And next thing you know, his head snapped. I was like, oh, Lord. And he said, yes, he was like, what you got to understand is Bishop don't run nothing up in here. I was like, yeah, and amen. Yeah, and amen. It's what I'm thinking. And he really, and I had to go back and think on that. Of course, it's way before coming counselors and process on it. Sometimes we have a bad habit because we see how somebody else's marriage is. And if we're speaking about marriage, we're all married. Please don't go back to your spouse and say, well, the lady that was sitting in the middle saying you need to turn to me. And that's not how you come to him. Sis, don't do that. Don't do that, sis. Don't do that. So I say that to say we have to be really careful about how we speak to our spouse, about what it is that maybe we desire that we've seen outside of our marriage, right? How are you building together? He said something so prominent, which is true. Bishop didn't run nothing up in the house, and he didn't. Bishop's name wasn't on our bills, none of that kind of stuff. But because we were so, I'm speaking for Shan now, we were so engulfed in the church I mean, we was dragging kids in tow. We ain't coming against the church. We were so engulfed that we weren't taking vacations. We were so engulfed that this man had came back off a deployment from Iraq. Some of y'all was living to know that Iraq was no joke. Some people gone for a year, 18 months, up to 2 years. And working in the ministry, you know, I want to do the works and all of that kind of stuff. And I remember saying, well, I'm not going to be at Bible study. I'm not going to be a deaconess meeting. I'm not going to be at marriage maintenance. I ain't going to be in none of that because my husband is about to come back home off deployment. I want to spend time with my husband. And what I was told is, you got to understand the works that God wants you to do come first.
Out of order.
Extremely out of order. Because when we look at the illustration, I love that illustration, is God, husband, wife, family, and then everything else. That lines up with the scripture for those of you all who are believers. Guess what? That person was out of order. They told me that. When I was talking to my husband crazy to my bishop said I was out of order, a lot of people can't say that. And so it had got to the point where we were, but we were neglecting our marriage because we was too busy doing the works in the building when our marriage is our first ministry. Our marriage. So we had to, now we see how God's like, sit y'all down. Get somewhere and sit down. Sit over in this corner. Now we get it. And then we had to go back to the basics, which is the Bible. And we had to really exegete that text for our marriage to build that thing back up. And furthermore, so we can be example for our 5 children and 5 grandchildren. So please be careful when it comes to that. Sometimes we busy ourselves so much, especially when we call it believer, we call it God, that we're neglecting us.
So I think what we're also coming to understand then is that to overcome or to even have a successful marriage, we need to prioritize it.
Yes.
Our marriage, we need to prioritize time together. Like date nights, y'all. Get together, check in.
Weekend getaways.
Staycations.
Without your children.
Without your children. And staycations, if y'all don't know what a staycation is, you don't have to travel miles and miles away. You can go get a hotel in your same city and act as if you are out of town. It's just you and your spouse, but get away so that you can connect, so that you can maintain that level of connection. The other thing is the check-ins. Communicating, understanding each other's communication styles too, because there's a lot of different types of communication styles out there. And we've kind of hit on some of them being a little negative, but understanding how each other communicate so that you can properly talk to one another. You know, to check in. DeMarcus and I had started doing, and he had gotten this from a therapist that he had saw. To do check-ins for us, we had a notebook. We got a notebook. And so he had a notebook, labeled his, mine labeled hers. We would write a note to each other every night in each other's notebook. And then that next day you had to respond to what was written in your notebook. So then we would read it. It was so helpful in fostering communication between the two of us. Till one night, it was funny. We were sitting after a few months, we're sitting up in bed and we both have our notebook and we're writing in our notebook. And I turned and I looked at him and I was like, I said, honey, you realize we sitting in the same bed, in the same room, with a notebook in our hand, writing down something that we can actually speak to one another. And he was like, babe, you're right. I was like, let's put the notebooks down and let's talk. Let's talk and say whatever you were going to write to me, you say it to me. Whatever I was going to write to you, I'm going to say it to you. That just created a whole nother level of communication between the two of us. Because let's face it, as time goes on when we're married, we get so caught up in life happening that we only come together for quick check-in meetings. What's going on with the kids? What's going on with work? What the house need? We need groceries. Need this. It was like a checklist, and then we stop talking. We stop. We're done. We're done for the day. We did our. It's almost like having that. You have with certain jobs, you go and you have a briefing. Military. We having a debrief. We gonna debrief you about the day. And you're done. And that's the only level of communication that you have. But you can create a more positive style of communicating with each other if you just slow down and take the time.
And I think that's key. I think years and years ago, we had individuals that were getting married. They were staying married 40, 50 years or whatever. It was all about time, and they slowed everything down. We are rushing 100 miles an hour now. We're letting time go past us,
Right.
and we're missing out on the key things that can help us in our marriages. And I just believe that husbands and wives both need to sit down and have a conversation and say, what are we working towards? And if we're working towards, what are the things we're doing to get there? Because if you're not doing those things to get there, then what are you doing? And a part of that is just being able to slow down and say, you know what? Maybe this week, I'm not going to go play pool with the guys. I'm going to stay right here with my wife and kids. We're going to do something as a family. And you create that tightness, that more connection within the family. I think a part of the key of being in a successful marriage, yes, you should date. Yes, you have to spend time with one another. You may do a staycation, but sometimes you need a little time apart as well.
Yes.
And my wife still said, baby, I'm going to go to women's conference. Okay, bye. Go ahead and go. Baby, me and these three ladies going out to eat. Okay, go. I got guys that I go out and eat with my football games. I got guys I go hunting and fishing with. But the greatness of that is being able to come back together and pick up where you left.
You miss each other.
Right.
Yes. You create that opportunity to meet each other. And as you were talking, Kenya, I'm just thinking, I think you said it earlier too, Rachel. I don't know if we were recording at the time. It was just like, have fun.
Yes.
Have fun. Do fun things with your spouse. I mean, when you were in that dating or courting phase or whatever, you were having fun. You did fun things. Like you went out, there was adventure that was different. I know everybody meet on different circumstances or decide to get married on different circumstances, but I feel like in the beginning it worked because you had fun with one another.
Yes.
And as life continues to happen, we forget the fun part and we just start living that adult life and everything else goes out the door. Bring that back. Laugh together. Play with each other. I mean, play games, joke around with one another. My husband probably would tell y'all, this lady is crazy because I will just break out of the dance in a minute. And he'd be like, honey, what are you doing? Just watch. Watch. And that's another thing. We used to watch Grey's Anatomy and they would get on there and they have the dance out. Just get up there and just start dancing. And he was like, you know what, that seemed like something really cool to do. Let's do that. So we turn on some music, just start dancing. We gonna have crazy. We take you back to the 90s, y'all.
Oh, we have dance.
Old school.
Look. Just dancing with one another and then being in the mirror and he'll be like, girl, you get so crazy. I know. That's all you. Even if he's in the kitchen, he cooking or I'm cooking, I come up behind him and I just start dancing.
Right.
He's like, I am cooking. I don't care. I see you.
But that's the thing. I think a lot of people, once you get into a marriage and you've been in it for a while, you stop celebrating the little things. There are so many couples that now I hear that I have conversations with, and I'm talking about this just in general, not even in the counseling room. And they're like, well, we've been married for 18 years. So, do y'all go away for y'all's anniversary or do you get dressed up? Or even if you can't go to a foreign country, you know what I'm saying? Do you just get dressed up and go out to eat? Because you used to get dressed up when you first started dating. Sis, what? He told you to get ready. He come to pick you up at what time? I don't know what y'all do now, but that's, back in our day. Anyway, and stuff, baby, you was cute. You was smelling good. Your hair was everything. You was trying to razzle dazzle him when you walked out, okay? But now it's like, oh, well, no, because we had to learn. We make our anniversary a national holiday. What? Don't answer nothing. I remember I was telling, and I promise you, shut up, at work, because you got to be mindful of who is jealous of your marriage. That could be family, friends, co-workers, people at your church, people in your organization. You got to be mindful. And I remember a boss that I had, I put leave out a year in advance because I was a supervisor. That's what I wanted my staff to do. And I remember it came around that time. We're supposed to be going on a cruise 7 days. I put my leave in and she waits 3 weeks before and bought the plane tickets and everything. We're going to Florida and everything. And she said, well, y'all know how they say in the government, well, you know that you can't take off Thanksgiving and Christmas. You got to pick one or the other. Our anniversary ain't even on Christmas. What are you talking about? And so she just really kept making excuses why she didn't want to approve my leave. Now, listen, I'm not telling y'all to do this. I'm just saying. So let me preface it with that. ma'am, I bust my behind at this job. I barely take off. My kids are barely sick. You know, me and my husband take a trip for our anniversary every year. Let me tell you something. You're about to be without an employee. Don't approve my leave. I will. So if you don't approve my leave, I'll put my 2-week notice in.
That's it.
Because guess what? Y'all know how I'm kind of saying no culture, and I'm not trying to teach y'all to be rebellious. But the thing is, this leave request was not for your approval.
It
was a courtesy
a courtesy
to let you know I'm not gonna be here.
That's it. That's it.
So when you play with my marriage, and God see you playing with my marriage, you think he ain't gonna bless me with another job? Everybody's all in possession. Know how hard I wait. Don't play with me. Because, and so this is the thing that I want people to understand if you get none of what I said out of that. When you teach people how to treat you, when you teach people how to treat your marriage, when you show them how to, and what I later found out is her and her husband's marriage was in turmoil. So she seen I wasn't playing. You think I'm having my husband waiting in the parking lot because you want me to help you? No. I put my evaluations in for my staff a month ago. I'm going on date night. Shatray, you really leaving? Got my purse and switched on out with my heels. I'm out. I will see you Monday. 4:30 is what the clock say. I'm off. I'm not staying over. That's on y'all. But a lot of times when people have issues in their own marriage, they'll project it onto yours. So please be careful. And if you take your marriage to be a covenant unto God and you really want to pour into it, you take it seriously, then everybody else have no choice but to take it seriously.
Absolutely.
So, okay, y'all, we at the end.
Listen.
I know I feel like hey y'all, if y'all think we need a part 2 to a successful marriage, let us know. Drop it in the comments.
What y'all thought?
We will make sure we make that happen for y'all. So, real quick, I know this has been really, really good. A lot of good tips, a lot of good things that we had to say about successful marriage. What's one last thing that y'all want to leave the people with for a successful ingredient for a successful marriage? I'll start. For me, I would say communicate. Effectively communicate.
Yeah.
Y'all don't know what that means? Put it down in the comments and maybe we'll do it.
Communication seminar.
Yeah. Marriage is not control. So please don't get married with the intent to try to control your spouse. Allow them to be who God created for them to be, and you work on who God created you to be.
Absolutely. I would say love each other like you never loved before. The same love that you had when y'all first got together, try to make that last throughout the continuum of the marriage.
That's good. I would say have an aim, have a purpose. So if success means having an aim or a purpose, meet annually. Create goals annually so you guys can work together for 365 days.
That's good. Amen. It's me. So I would say in order to increase marital satisfaction, get an understanding of each other's wants and needs.
That's good. That's
Wants and needs.
Yes, that's real good. Thank you, Alicia.
Yes.
Thank you. So this has been another successful topic that we have covered, ingredients for a successful marriage. We hope that you all were able to take something away from this this topic and all that what we shared with you on today. We ask that again, if there is anything that you feel like we did not cover and you want us to cover, to put that down in the comments, reach out to us and let us know, and we'll be sure to in our next recording maybe do something that goes along those lines. But we want to thank you all for joining us here at Talk.Therapy.Heal. We hope to see you back in our next episode that we will have airing. But before you log off, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell and share. Y'all sharing is caring.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.